Some of us start a business to solve a problem that the market is experiencing. And others of us start a business because we don't like the culture of the company we're working for. And frankly, we think we can do it better. My guest today certainly was experiencing this. She came from a large organization and didn't like the way they were doing business and didn't like how they were treating their people. So she started her own investment advisory firm. And the result is that now she has a company that has a great culture and progressive and aligned customers, and is, of course, extremely successful, or she wouldn't be here today. Lola West is the founder of WestFuller Advisors. They are a boutique investment advisory firm based out of New York City that builds legacies of wealth for individuals, families, and institutions. She has a small but mighty team in a highly competitive field. Lola West, welcome to How I Turned the Corner.
Thank you so much, Kendra, and thank you for what you do, because it indeed does make a difference for people, employees, or the bosses.
Yes, everybody benefits, right? So,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background. Like, tell us a little bit about what got you into starting this business.
I was as you said, at a large house. And one of the things that I found was that they were really more interested in their bottom line, their revenue, than they were in how we worked with clients. Specifically, when the market was falling apart in 08, 09, my company at that time wanted me to introduce more transactional business in the client's accounts. And I refused, because I built a client's portfolio based on their goals, not on revenue made by a company. So I didn't do it. They called me back in 6 months later. I realized the first time I was called in that I would have to leave if I wasn't going to do what they asked me to do. So my partner and I prepared, and we left, and we started our own company where we could control the culture and where the client and our employees were the two most important factors in the decisions that we had to make.
That's amazing. So you started with a partner, and how was that? I mean, it must have been equally yoked from the get-go.
Well, interesting enough, I would say not. I'd had 4 careers previously. So when I entered into finances, I was at the ripe age of 53.
Nice.
Yeah. And because managing assets for people is really crucial, that you do it in such a way that you can provide for them with legacy. So for me, it was important at my age that my partner be at least half my age. So he was. His problem is he keeps getting older. I can't keep up with that. So we started together, and I asked him to also commit, as we built the company, to always ensure that there are younger people in the company. Because when you work with a client's assets, we work at times with 3 generations. So we know our families, we know what they want to do. And I want to ensure a continuation of someone always being there as we continue to build our business and take care of our clients over generations.
That's a great philosophy, Lola. I mean, most people think that they want to work and probably have a partner that is similar of age, but in this case, you're really building a legacy and building a succession plan.
And what also was important was that we not be alike. We can be alike in terms of what our goals are and what we want to see, but in disposition, we were not. Because if you're the same people, there's no friction, You don't know whether you're doing the best or they're doing the best. You just know that you're doing what each of you like to do. My partner and I are as different as night and day. And that's what's also led to our success, because he's a nerd. I'm not. So he's always up in the weeds and reading everything. He's a voracious reader. He probably downs 400-page novels a week. I don't read that. And that's in addition to what he does for the business.
Wow.
So I spend my time actually speaking with every single one of our employees. Every single week, I meet anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour with every single staff member. And that's what makes us different in terms of the culture that we have and how employees feel working here. Because a happy employee is something that makes all the difference in the world, because we're growing fast and we need to have people who are committed to the growth, but we have to have fun doing it. Otherwise, you burn people out.
Yeah, for sure. So how have you grown the team? I mean, what have you done uniquely and from a hiring perspective to bring these folks in?
What we do is, one, we have a huge network. By being in the business now some 23 years, although our particular company is 11 years old because we were at the bigger firm for almost 10, what we've done is we've counted on our resources and our network to give us as many connections of people that they think would fit our climate and culture. We have been blessed, and I take that with much gratitude, because one of the other things that I do is every single morning of my life, I wake up with 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I don't get to repeat the same ones every day. So it really leads you down a different path. So by being always grateful, I think that I operate in an ether that only people who are kind of grateful and know that it's not all because of them operate in. So we've just been blessed because we've gotten incredible employees. Does it mean that there's no work to be done with them? No. But we start someplace where people understand they'll be empowered. We're transparent. We work with joy and love. Okay. It's like, I remember when we got up to 11 employees and we went to take pictures, everybody smiled. And my friends would say to me, how do you get people to smile? I said, because my partner and I, we smile all the time. So your staff will do what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it does trickle down in that way. That's for sure. Do you have, did you and your partner spend time really putting the effort into defining your values as a guardrail for how you're going to go about hiring?
Okay, so this is what's a blessing in our relationship. We both talked a lot about culture before we started, because we needed to know how we best work together. Now, mind you, we went from working together for like almost 9 years, and then we got an influx after, we grew to over $2 billion now. And we did that, I would say 70% of that was done in a matter of maybe 17, 18 months. So we have been building the business while we fly the plane. We're building the plane and the business. So it required a lot of thought as we were nurturing it, so that when we got to the point where all of this business came our way, we were blessed to be able to find the right people, but we also are in a business where we're looking at clients as well as staff who are, shall we say, mission aligned. We deal with impact investing, but we have always been very clear about you can do good without doing harm. And that's our philosophy in terms of what we invest in. So that's something that people who come to us also know, that that's our sweet spot. So therefore, when you come, if you look at our website, you see that, because it just says that we're mission aligned from the beginning. So we have a certain kind of clientele that comes to us. We also have employees who are looking to be with a company that looks at impact, looks at mission aligned investing. So it's what you put out in the public, what you've been known for over time, and you can be fortunate enough to have employees who are looking come to interview and are happy to be connected with the company. So I can't say that this would work for everyone. What I know is it's worked for us, and it's not easy because human beings are still human beings.
We're complex.
We're complex. And
Yeah.
part of the ability to be transparent with your staff as well as with your clients, to say what's acceptable here or what's not acceptable here, is always important, so that everyone knows where they stand. I've never been one for mincing words or dancing around. If something's not working, I talk about it right then and there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things about being a good manager is being able to address conflict the minute that it happens. Even if it's a really small thing, but it's when it accumulates over time that resentment starts to build up, and relationships start to erode. And so I love that you do that. Is this what you do kind of during the one-on-ones you have weekly with your teammates?
What I do on the weeklies, Kendra, is there's no conversation off topic. I don't create an agenda. They come in and we just start with, well, how was your weekend? What'd you do that was interesting? One time I sat down with one of our analysts, and they had a call the week before. So I said, well, how do you think the call went? Because I'd heard what other people said. And then they talked about what they thought. So I said, well, are there any things that you learned from that call? Are there any things that you would not do the next time? So when stuff happens, I let the staff tell me what their interpretation is of what happened, because everybody's got an opinion. It's like an asshole, I mean, we all have them. So therefore, when you ask people what they think, be willing and open to hear what they say. And then you can say, well, okay, I understand where that came from, but maybe that's not something that we want to observe in the culture here. And then we have a back and forth about it if necessary. But I've not had a conversation yet with an employee who really we couldn't come to an agreement on it, or we didn't see eye to eye about it. Because I think once you are able to create a vehicle for communication, then you leave yourself in a better position to actually have staff want to come and talk to you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've really worked so hard over the last, I guess, 20 years to learn to give feedback in a way where people don't feel like they're being given feedback. but they feel like they are growing, and that gives them then just sort of this more gentle experience instead of feeling like they're being reprimanded.
Yeah,
But
there was one thing that was really funny one time. I walked into the office and one of the females had on a lot of things. I went to charm school as a kid, and my friends called it groom a somebody for me. It wasn't charm school like it was really, because I can be very direct. So when I saw this employee, my eyes kind of bugged out because I didn't know how to take what they had on. So I just said to them, I said, I learned in charm school that you can only have on 12 points. I said, but today you have on 17 and some of them got to go. And she just bust out laughing. She said, well, what do you think I should do? And I told her. She went to the bathroom and fixed it and came back. I said, oh, that's much better. But you have to be able to laugh at yourself, and you have to be able to say things without judgment. You can tell anybody anything if you don't have a judgment about it or a position. I just said,
well,
look, they say,
respectful.
yeah.
Yeah, it's much more respectful to come from that perspective of, hey, I might not agree with you on everything like what you have on, but I respect you still, and might make this like subtle suggestion, right?
Oh, I think it might have been more than subtle. It was a lot.
That must have been funny.
Yeah, it was. And that's the other thing. Be able to laugh at yourself.
Uh-huh.
It relaxes people.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at her like, oh my God, the Rocky Horror Show. I was just like, this is a lot. And she was like, she didn't get it. She appreciated it. She said, oh, okay. It was really, I even felt good about it myself. Because I don't know a few years ago if I'd have been able to do it with finesse. Sometimes with age, it does work.
Well, and practice. Yeah, exactly. So what do you think is like, how do your customers benefit from your culture that you've created?
Our clients, whether it's a client and we've got 500 million of theirs, or it's a client and we've got 2 or 3 million, we treat them all with respect. What our clients come to know about us is that, one, we care about them. We listen intently to what it is that their goals are. So we are always in service to the goals that they tell us they want to accomplish. And we bring things around to the point of, when we do reviews, are we matching what your goals are? Have your goals changed since last year? But we are constantly engaging with our clients, whether they're big or small, to ensure that we are doing what we've agreed to do. So it's always a check-in. We check in quarterly with clients, and we do an annual review as well. And sometimes we just invite clients to events because it's important for them to be engaged with you. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it one more step though. Do you find that your customers pick you because of your culture? When you get into a more competitive situation, do they pick up and notice the difference from your culture? I would suspect so.
I would say to you that we have had, over the last 18 months, of RFPs that we've submitted, we have won over 80% of them. Wow. Which is a whopping number.
Yeah.
But yes, we are and that's been done in a stealth mode. We've not really done a whole lot of advertising. Like, we don't show up on TV, we don't show up in the paper. So this is because in the arena that we're in, there are people who are looking for the things that we're offering. And we have somewhat of a corner because we've also done things differently than what people have ever done before. We make an investment policy statement read like a novel. Nobody
Oh,
does that.
no, no, I don't ever read any of my prospectus or any of those documents that come in.
It's true. It's true.
Well, that's
And
great.
that's what we pay attention to, because we do not talk to clients in financial terms constantly. We break things down so that it's understood. And that is really a key differential. You don't have to make finance seem difficult. It already makes the hair on people's backs stand up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
why do that?
Mhm, mhm. So what's next for you? What's the plan for the next, 3 to 5 years?
To build the company bigger than it is. I never really I thought at one point I'd be okay with just managing so much money, but with the culture that we've built, I would like us to really build it out as far as we can, because what we do for clients is unmask the difficulty that usually surrounds finance, and there's no need for that. I really would do anything to ensure that people understood finance, they were not scared by it, and they were able to trust that the market's a good place to be and that it does matter, and that they would trust the financial services to do the right thing.
Mhm,
And hopefully, other companies will become more like we are in terms of how we treat our clients and how we also treat our staff.
mhm,
We're all human beings, and it's just easier to be nice.
mhm. I couldn't agree more, Lola. Well, I think that's a perfect spot to end actually on that note, to treat
Okay.
people like humans and be kind and nice to each other. I love that. And
Yeah.
especially when we're in a leadership role. So I think it's often overlooked. I'm really thrilled that you have participated in our podcast today. Thank you so much for
Oh,
sharing your wisdom and your insight.
you're so welcome. It's been my treat.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we will see you at the next episode, and we'll be checking back in with Lola here in a couple of months and see how she's doing. Thank you so much for listening today.